there is a day I looked into my life and I asked myself, Elizabeth, where did you go? I had spent so many years of my life being a wife, being a mother, trying to take care of a big extended family and trying to keep the family together, that somewhere on the way, I forgot exactly who that woman, Elizabeth, was. I had changed from the way I dress, the way I talk, my skin. I was thin, I was tired, and nothing looked like that little girl at 21. I was giving birth and taking care of myself alone because my mother had already died. I was taking care of a big extended family. My house was so full with relatives that I never managed to even enjoy the first years of my marriage. I was a spotlight in an extended family that had so many wives and with so many children. As the cleaners, cooking, and I was helping someone to develop his career. When I was young, I had my own dreams. I wanted to become somebody. I wanted to own my own identity. But marriage happened, children happened, and responsibilities happened. And little by little, I became so busy surviving and taking care of everyone else until I stopped asking me, Elizabeth, what do you want? What exactly do you want? And maybe that is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a woman, because you don't lose yourself in one day. You lose yourself slowly without knowing. It is like Elizabeth is removed from her, and the one who remains is not that Elizabeth. You see, I got married into a very, very large family. And I have this guy who has the responsibility to go back home and change home, because that was a dark village and so much had to be worked on that I forgot about me, and I helped him change that place. I remember I got married and I went to the village, and for me, everything had to be changed, from how they eat, how they sleep, how the worship was a scare. Giving birth, I remember being taken to a village doctor with my mother-in-law, and I was given something that I almost lost my first child. I was meant to eat on the same plate with a 2-year-old who would pick ugali, dip on the soup, crush the ugali inside the soup, and I would not eat. Because no. So I would watch her eat until she finishes, and I would carry the plate. And then I would go back, and because you are the youngest already married, you have to wash all those dishes. I did not know how to cook ugali in those karayas they would use. And I had to force myself to learn to do it. The responsibility was so huge that I lost Elizabeth. Because the Elizabeth now that was existing was Elizabeth who was trying to change the life of a family. And I forgot exactly what I was supposed to work on as a person, as Elizabeth. For years, I told myself, this is marriage. This is motherhood. This is what women go through. I'll be okay. I remember after giving birth to my first child, I was made to walk 5 kilometers. I had 25 stitches. 25 stitches. But my brother-in-law said, taxi is a luxury. So I don't have to get a taxi. We need to walk. And I reached somewhere on the way, and the stitches became so painful that I just started crying. And I think it was a crowded places, and somebody noticed. And the guy started making noise like, hey, this is who ni mama, aje. I would cook large amounts of food, and then I'll have to wash the dishes. I had to fetch water. I had never fetched water in my mother's house. And I was doing all those things because of love. I was taken to a farm, a very big farm, and they said it's time to harvest. And I went there. I was pregnant, and I spent from morning to evening. There was no food. I didn't have anyone who could help me. So I just kept quiet because I had to keep going. And because, I was telling myself, maybe that's what women go through. Maybe that is what happens when you get married. And I said sometimes we will cry. Something happened when I was carrying my third child, and there's a brother who had to live with me in my house because I had lived in a wooden house to build my house, and now I was living in my own house. And a brother was brought in my house and came with a wife. And I don't know if it is jealousy, I don't know if what was happening. I was young. I was very young. I was not concentrating so much on thinking about those things. But something happened where the lady actually really beat me up when I was pregnant. I think I was about 4 months pregnant. 3 months, I can't remember. She hit me on my stomach so many times and using these exact words, like, this pregnancy of yours is the one that is making you disrespect me. I will remove it so that you start respect. I actually lived in Nairobi hospital so many times because the pregnancy kept on. I was taken to hospital bleeding. I was actually bleeding after she hit my stomach. And a neighbor, may he rest in peace, Mr. Marina, he rushed me to hospital when I was bleeding after the beating, because I never knew how to fight. I was not brought up. I was not taught to fight. And I was taken to hospital bleeding. And I remember the doctor in Nairobi hospital. I had this very good gynecologist, Dr. Tagana. And I remember him sitting down and questioning what is happening to this pregnancy. This pregnancy was okay. And he actually talked loud. After giving me whatever he was supposed to, first aid and all that, to make sure I'm okay, the pregnancy is not coming out. And he said, I don't understand. But I could not tell him what exactly had happened. And that pregnancy kept me in the hospital for so many times just to prevent it from coming out. I ended up giving this child a blessing, a name, because for me, God had blessed me with this child after a very long struggle. And after giving birth, and the baby was okay, and I was okay, I eventually something inside me just became tired. It wasn't my body, it was my spirit. It was my spirit. Is this really what I want? Is this really the life I wanted? And if it isn't, how much of my life have I already given away? If you're watching this video and you're asking yourself that question, how much of my life have I already given? I already have 3 babies. 3 babies. I've already buried my mother. I have nothing. I've already given the best years of my life. I've given the beauty, the beautiful young girl. I've given that beautiful young girl, that brilliant young girl. I was called a queen at home. I was just a child of hope. Everything of mine was brilliant from childhood. And now I've reached a point, I have to ask that question. If you're asking yourself that question right now, go into the comment section, leave a comment, and let me know, because we need to talk about it. This video might end up changing your mind set, might end up giving you an opportunity to think of what you're gonna do next with your life. We agreed we are going to learn in this channel, and we are going to cry sometimes, we are going to make mistakes sometimes, but guys, I don't know if I don't know if it's working. I don't know. It keeps on blinking, but we'll just go on. What I don't want you to misunderstand is I'm not making this video to blame somebody. I want you to understand this. I'm not making this video to blame somebody. I'm not here to tell you that my life was completely bad. I had beautiful moments. I had beautiful moments. Food, privileges. I drove my first car before I was 30. I gave birth in very expensive hospitals. I happened to own a home before I was 30. And listen, I gave birth to the most beautiful. So many people don't know my children because I've never shared my kids. I gave birth to the most beautiful daughters. Beautiful. Daughters that I gave birth to my children alone. I took care of them alone. I carried them alone. I fed them. I took them to school. I have a son, a brilliant one, intelligent, hardworking, quiet. I bless God for that. I thank Him. My girls are awesome, by the way. My girls are awesome, by the way. I have memories that I will always treasure. But I'm finally learning something. I'm finally learning something. Appreciating the good parts of your life doesn't mean you have to pretend the painful parts that didn't exist. Yeah. Yes, I have come to learn that. And I don't feel bad about it. And that's where my journey begins. That's exactly where my journey begins. Not with a divorce. I'll not talk about it. Not with another relationship. No, my journey is not going to begin there. Not with finding another person to make me happy. I'm not even thinking of that. My journey begins with finding Elizabeth, because Elizabeth has to be found. Elizabeth Mumbo has to be found. Not Mama Joy. No, not Mama Bill. Eliza. That name came from my mother. Elizabeth has to be found. Elizabeth, Elisa, or Lisa has to be found again. Who am I? Who am I? What do I want? What makes me happy? What really makes me happy? What do I want to accomplish now? Those are the questions I'm asking myself in this season of my life. This season when I'm alone. This season when everybody left. This season that God has decided that it's either him or him and no one else. These are the questions I'm asking myself right now. And there's a reason I'm telling you this, Lord. I know people would wish I could tell everything in one video. And yes, we could. But there's a reason why I'm telling you this slowly. Because my story didn't begin in my 50s. It began much, much earlier. Not today, not yesterday. My story began much, much earlier. There was a young 21-year-old girl who made a decision at 21. A decision that would shape the next 33 years of her life. And I've never really told that story, have I? Leave a comment in the comment section if you've been watching my videos. I need to know. Because today, I'm ready. I am ready to tell you that story. So if you want to understand how I got here, you will have to come back to the next chapter. Because now we are going back to the beginning. That 21-year-old. Thank you for watching and see you on another video. Bye.